everyone, welcome to Gruff Talk, where we dive into topics that will help us feel better, look better, be better, and age better. Today, we're talking with the fabulous and fun Laura Geller about how feeling pretty can help you take on the world. I'm your host, Barbara Hannah Grufferman. Yesterday, while listening to the radio, yes, I listened to the radio on Alexa, I heard one of my favorite Jefferson Airplane songs, Pretty As You Feel. Remember that one? And I was struck by the simple truth of its lyrics. You're only pretty as you feel. I could sing it if you wanted me to. Only pretty as you feel inside. You all remember this, I know. I've always loved that song, but even more so now as it mirrors my heartfelt philosophy that we all have the right to feel pretty, no matter what our age, shape, or size. But it can be really hard to embrace that philosophy when we're constantly bombarded by images of rail-thin, very young models and actresses who do not reflect the reality of most women. Even though there has been a nice uptick in recent years of having older women portrayed in ads and commercials, like Mae Musk, Elon Musk's mom, but we still have a very long way to go. The message that still seems to rule them all is this: aging sucks. But feeling pretty is one of the most positive feelings a woman can have and has absolutely nothing whatsoever to do with age, weight, or shape. This can be a confusing point for women who often equate pretty with age, as in, I'm too old to be pretty, or I used to be pretty, but not anymore, or I must be invisible now that I'm older because I'm not as pretty as I was. Of all the words that are used to describe how a woman looks, pretty is the one that is most connected to an image of youth. Well, let me tell you something. Every single day, I find a reason to feel pretty. And there's nothing wrong and everything right about wanting to feel pretty. Hey, feeling pretty makes you feel pretty good, makes you feel pretty darn sexy, makes you feel happy. The amazing thing is it's so easy to feel pretty. Smile at someone, flirt a little, put on a sexy bra. Hey, have sex. I feel pretty after I've gone for a run and my cheeks are glowing from all that exertion, or just putting on a little bit of my favorite pink lipstick. Easy peasy. And here's the best part, everyone. When you feel pretty, you feel powerful and ready to take on whatever the world sends your way. My guest today is a woman who knows all about pretty. She's been helping us embrace the power of pretty for decades as the founder of a wildly successful brand that launched on QVC over 20 years ago. In fact, it has the distinction of being the longest running makeup brand on QVC. Laura Geller has won accolades for being a savvy and successful entrepreneur, a brilliant marketer who keeps her line of products fresh and modern, and a woman who is warm, humorous, and most importantly, relatable. Women who adore her products and her call themselves Geller Gals, and I'm proud to be one of them. Laura, welcome to Gruff Talk. And okay, how the heck did we ever live before Spackle?
We didn't. Well, first of all, thank you for having me as your guest, Barbara. I am elated to be here and have so much excitement about what you're doing and what I can lend to this conversation. So thank you.
Oh, please. Thank you for being on. And before we dive into what I really want to talk about, I have 3 things I want to ask you that I like to ask all of my guests. First, where are you tuning in from?
New York City, Manhattan's the East Side.
Yeah, my hometown. Okay. Second, what are the essential things about Laura Geller, the person, you'd like the Gruff Talk audience, or should I call them Gruff Gals? And Gruff Guys.
Gruff Gals, there you go.
The audience to know about you.
I
Give us a
think
few.
that I'm an empath. I want to help everybody. I am more feeling for people than myself sometimes. So that's always not a good thing. I am definitely humorous, and I love what I do for a living.
Oh, that's so clear. Okay, third and last, what did you have for breakfast today?
I had a slice of challah, lightly buttered with a piece of yellow American cheese, the most healthy breakfast for the champions of Earth.
Oh, well, let me
That's what
tell
I
you.
had.
Well, that sounds really yummy. And good thing you had that cheese because that has protein. Because everyone, guess what? We have a very cool episode coming up that's in the works right now, talking about the importance of breakfast and specifically how adding a hefty dose of protein, like Laura did with the cheese, to your first meal of the day can help with building muscle and shedding pounds. So stay tuned for that. And hey, if you subscribe to Gruff Talk, you'll always know when an episode airs. All right, let's dive in. Laura, we met, are you ready? Over 10 years ago when I was
Easily.
confused. It's crazy, right? When I was confused about getting older and decided to write my first book as a handbook, right? For myself and other women. I turned to you for advice on looking and feeling pretty. And by the way, everyone, how did I connect with Laura Geller? Well, I pulled up the, hey, my kid goes to the same school as your kid card. That's how we met. Yeah. Well, I recently picked up a copy of my book. I picked up my book to look at that chapter and look at your sage advice. And I see that you continue to give the same advice on your really amazing YouTube videos and your Facebook Live shows. And one of my favorites is, which is in the book, do the 3 E's. Tell everyone, what are the 3 E's and why do you think they're so important to feeling pretty?
Well, I think the confusion when women make themselves up is they're putting makeup on, but don't really have a strategy behind it. So I decided that if I educated everybody on the 3 E's, that the philosophy would be that when you went to put your makeup on your eyes, you would be thinking those things and your makeup would look different and it would be easier. So the 3 E's are eyebrow, eyeline, and eyelash. The 3 things that you should not leave off when you're doing your eye makeup. If you want to put eyeshadow on, that would be the 4th E. But the most important thing is for sculpting your eye so that it looks more open, wider, and bigger. And so that's where 3 E's come in. And that's still my philosophy.
Oh, and I still follow it. Exactly. Everything that you taught me and told me back well over 10 years ago, that was in my first book, I still do. I had never done my eyebrows back then. And then all of a sudden, my whole face was changing. Everything was, as I like to say, kind of going up instead of down, right? The whole, like your eye is going up, everything is up. And that's really something that I personally try to achieve now with my makeup. Yeah. And also because eyebrows get a little sparser, you need to do this. And
well, when the eyebrow gets thinner, and you lose the hair there, you know what happens to it, where it goes, right? Do you know?
tell us.
It pops out of your chin. Yeah, that's
I could have told you that.
Those missing eyebrows start popping out of your chin. It's very pretty.
Oh, it's so pretty. It's really amazing the things that we have to go through, and all because of menopause has a lot, but that's a whole nother story. One thing, though, I would add to that, and I do all those things. Sometimes I'll skip on mascara. Like you said in a recent YouTube video that I watched the other day, where you'll just put on some eyeliner, skip the mascara if you're in a rush, and put on your fancy sunglasses and walk out the door, right?
Yes, absolutely.
One thing I never leave home without. I could forego all of those 3 E's, never leave. For me, this is me, lipstick.
Yeah.
Like Desert Island, it would be a lipstick.
I can see that. I mean, it changes everything. And P.S., you can take a little bit of it and put it on the apple of your cheeks for a little color for blush. So it should be Desert Island for sure.
Absolutely. Even during when we were really living behind masks. Now it's a little here, a little there. But living behind masks, I always put on lipstick. I was one of those.
Good. That's so good. I'm so happy.
It had all those weird things on the inside of the mask, a little, kiss marks.
You didn't have
your logo.
You needed our transfer-resistant lipstick, our Smart Pouts.
They don't
transfer.
You're right. My mistake. All right, Laura, we've all seen how concepts of beauty and what it means to be beautiful change over the years, right? What was deemed beautiful 10, 20 years ago might be different now, or what's beautiful in one part of the world might not be considered beautiful in another. But when I talk about pretty, which is what we're really talking about today, I'm talking about something that comes from within. It's almost a sense of confidence, something that transcends physical beauty. it's a feeling, it's a tool for being more confident, right? Don't you think? What are your thoughts on the power of pretty?
Well, I have to tell you, it's why I chose this career path. Because I, as a young woman, I'm talking about 12, 13, 14, saw how the women who lived in my neighborhood, the mothers of my friends, transformed themselves. Because my mother didn't do a lot of makeup, and not that you need a lot, but she was very simple, very plain, maybe a little pancake, a little red lip. But when I watched the women in the neighborhood transform themselves, I thought, oh my gosh, this is interesting. And that's what gave me the taste of, I need to do this. Because honestly, you make up, they say if you feel good on the inside, you look great on the outside. For me, it's the opposite. For me, if I can fix my face and know I look good because I did a little bit of makeup, it makes me feel empowered. And because I don't always feel good on the inside, in all transparency. So I know that when I put my face on, I'm a different person. I feel so good and so empowered and so ready to take the day on. So I have clients for years who started late in life and thank me because they thought if they didn't feel good, why even bother to put makeup on? It's not going to help. And then when they did, they said, oh my God, what a difference. What a difference. And I have you to thank for that.
Oh, absolutely. And again, you taught me so much about how to make myself feel prettier way back when I was so confused about so many things and not feeling very good about myself at all. If you remember that conversation that we did have, I was like, what does this mean, turning 50 and getting older and not feeling sexy and not feeling pretty? And then it was a real mind shift for me. And I agree with you. It is about the outside in. And it really isn't about beauty. It really is about feeling pretty, just
That's
pretty. Right. And it is too bad that women, as they get older, think that the word pretty no longer applies to them. As I said earlier, that it's too much of a youthful word. It isn't. It isn't. No, it isn't. And just a little bit of lipstick for me is all it takes to take on the world.
You're right. It's about empowerment all the way.
It is. Now, your brand, Laura Geller Beauty, did some research not that long ago and found that while everyone, men and women, all different ages, adore your line of products and the appeal crossed over many generational lines, my own daughters love your stuff. Your most ardent Geller gal fans, if I'm saying it correctly, are women 40 plus. Talk to us about that, and how have you changed your messaging since getting this information?
Well, I'll tell you that for years, even I was a victim of wanting to use models that you sort of wanted to look like and that you really could aspire to look like. And I started to see a shift. I mean, yes, all of the saturation of brands that are coming to the marketplace still, that when I started, there were not that many indie brands from celebrities, from influencers, and those didn't exist. They just didn't. And I started realizing everybody's talking to the same person. And I knew from QVC and the years I'm there that our demographic was older, but we weren't leaning into her. And while she didn't complain, there were those random messages I would get, that looks good on her, but what about me? And, how would it look on someone of my age? And I started realizing that if our demographic is 40 plus,
yes,
it doesn't matter. You're right. Like your daughters, they're still going to, if they like something from my line, get it. But I'm going to start showing models and real women that really are relatable. And it has shifted for us in a way that we could have never imagined. And I'm so grateful. And a perfect example of that is that about 4 or 5 years ago, we did a collaboration with a male influencer. And he was probably in his early 20s. And I remember thinking, my marketing team came up with this idea. And I remember thinking, well, maybe I'm just old fashioned and maybe this will resonate with her, our client. because the whole shift was male influencers. It was all about male influencers back then. And so I went along with it. And in those days, we were in store. So we were in all the Ulta stores.
Yep.
And the item fell flat on its face. And I remember thinking I needed to go with my gut and stand firm. It was not right for our brand. And ever since we leaned in, and that's only probably in the last year and a half, our line is exploding even more than it did before. And we would not even entertain anything like that. We just wouldn't. Again, it's not right for us. There's enough people out there that can do that, but it's not right for our brand.
Right. You mentioned before about aspiration versus inspiration and how I really think that this demographic, and I know I'm speaking of myself, I am I'm inspired by women that I can relate to. I don't aspire to be them. I'm just inspired by them. I'm motivated by them. It's a very subtle difference, but it's an important difference. So I understand and appreciate your using people who are relatable and real in your market, as opposed to those who are young women who we really can't relate to. I mean, I don't aspire to be a 25-year-old,
No.
but I am inspired by a 40, 50, 60 or so year old woman who is bold and brave and fearless and exciting and interesting and looks good and feels pretty. So thank you really, really for that.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding? We're so happy that we
Oh, it's been
cracked
a
the
great
code.
success. I
Oh
know.
my gosh, yes.
And you keep coming out with new things, as I said earlier, too, to keep the whole line fresh and modern and new. And that's really great. You know, one thing I have not used it, and I'm like, what? Why? I use spackle, but I didn't get the spackle for eyes. And
Oh,
like, what? So I am. It's on my to-do list for today, just so you know. And everybody, there are going to be links, of course, for you to click on, learn more about Laura and more about Laura Geller Beauty and all the products and the like, including Spackle and Balance and Brighten, which is my go-to and all-times favorite. Everyone, the last 2 years have been really hard for everybody, for the world. We know that. But for Laura and me, there was an added layer of grief, which we'll discuss as soon as we're back. Okay, we're back, everyone. And my guest today is the lovely Laura Geller, founder of Laura Geller Beauty. And we're talking about the power of pretty and how it can help you rule the world. Yes, it can. Laura, I have wonderful childhood memories of going into my mother's bedroom to behold the wonders of her makeup kit. That Helena Rubinstein or Rubinstein, I forget how to pronounce it, that long gold mascara, the CoverGirl lipsticks, and of course the Pond's cold cream to take it all off. I lost my beloved mother. I was very close with her in middle of 2021. And I'm still grieving. And up until the very end, she wanted her nails done, hair fixed, and her lipstick on. Yes, that's how I got that habit. Always the lipstick. I know where I got that habit. Laura, I know your mother also passed away in 2021, and we are both still grieving this terrible loss. Tell us about your mom. You mentioned her before as being, a little more simple in her approach to makeup, but tell us about what was she like and how did she influence you on your future career path?
Oh, thank you for the opportunity. And I'm so sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
There's no timeline for grief for anybody listening. You're not supposed to expect it to be feeling better if it's 3 months, 6 months, 9 months and beyond. It's losing your best friend. So, it's funny. My mother too, she was very simple, but lipstick was always on her table as she was older and she passed at 92. God bless her.
God bless.
And she always had her lipstick on her table in front of her. So
did my mother. She always had it like there. With her, a little compact so she could, open it up and put it on whenever she felt like it.
Yes, and
Wow.
her lips always look great, and my mother could wear nothing else, and I'd always think, "Wow, she looks good with just that lipstick on her mouth. It's unbelievable."
Brightened the
But
face, right? It brightened.
yeah,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
it was so
Oh.
incredible. No, my mother was listen, we all have stories about our mom, so I don't want to act like my mother was any different than anybody's mother. She just, for me, was my inspiration. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
she encouraged me when things got rough. She kept me going.
Mm-hmm.
And she was hilarious. My mother was one of the funniest women on earth. Sometimes I was so used to her that I didn't recognize that she was being funny. And so if a friend overheard her on the phone, if I was in the car and I was speaking to her, my friend would be, and I'd go, "What are you laughing at?" I didn't realize that she had this hysterical humor. And so I kept many of her audio recordings, and I am going to make some kind of something CD, thumb drive of some of the funny, hilarious things that my mother left me messages from. In fact, there was a CD somebody gave me once, Amy's Answering Machine. If you don't know it, try to look it up and Google it. Amy was a Jewish girl from New York, and her mother left her messages on her, in those days, answering machine.
Yes.
And Amy recorded those messages. I mean, I got this CD probably 8 years ago, and I still play it for friends when they come over and they howl. And you don't have to be Jewish. It's anybody who had a mother that worried about you. And my mother could have been Amy's mother. And so she inspired me. And until the last days of her life, the only thing she really lived for and got excited about was when I was going to be on air, and everything had to stop and she had to watch me, and she gave me critiques. She would
Yes, I'm
critique
sure
it.
she did. I'm sure she
was
did.
incredible.
Oh, she must have been so proud of you. I know my mom
She
was
was,
always really excited when I was on a race. I love to run marathons. I'm training for the next New York City Marathon. And
you go, girl.
she really loved, like, then I would bring the medal, and, it's like they
Yes.
really inspired us. And, I don't want to like turn this into a sobbing session, but I really miss her. There's just
It's
no other
hard.
words for it. I just do.
Did you save any messages from her on your
yes.
phone?
And she would record. I had gotten her an iPad, then a new iPad, and she somehow, I never showed it to her, but she found the record button, like the notes button, and she would say, she had a gorgeous voice. I have on the iPad, her singing, her talking, wonderful,
So, Barbara,
wonderful things, wonderful things.
You need to make a compilation of some of the most wonderful moments, and you need to play that for your listeners, because it's our way of staying connected to them.
Yes.
And knowing that whatever you believe in, that if you keep those memories alive, they keep us going, because we don't have to feel the loss that they're not here to inspire us or here to hear our accomplishments or our sadness, as long as we have those memories kept alive, because we will strive to keep making them proud no matter what.
No matter what. No matter what. Oh,
Yeah.
Thank you for that. I will
You
do
must.
something with that.
I'd listen to that. Be your first listener for that.
Oh, thank you. Okay. I'm holding you to it as everybody else.
Absolutely.
All right. Laura, okay. This has been incredibly fun. And I don't want this conversation to end. So we're not going to say bye-bye for now. We're going to say to be continued. And then you're going to come back on the show again. And we're going to talk about more makeup and fun, girly stuff. In fact, maybe we'll even do a Barbara makeover or something like that. We'll have
do
some
it
fun
together. I can guide you through it.
Oh, ooh. Hey, everyone, you hear that? Oh, I like that idea.
Yep.
Oh, I did a video for 8 Europe a few years ago, and I thought, oh my God, this is really scary.
I remember
because I've seen you do them where you have no makeup on. It's like, wow, you're really showing everything.
Check that out on my YouTube. Oh my God,
they're
it's
great.
pretty
Everyone, we're going to have the links for sure. Check those out. And I just saw a recent one too, and I did that too. I was like, oh my God, but it was really fun, and it was so great for people to see the before and the after. for just a few little things, right? So we'll do that.
I would love that. If your listeners are interested, I will share the easiest tips. I call it the lazy girl guide to makeup, not because you're lazy, but because none of us want to sit for a long time or stand doing makeup. So I will be happy to share the must-haves to get out of the house, or what you do when the doorbell rings and you didn't expect somebody at the door, what you can do to quickly transform yourself. I have the best tips.
And to feel pretty.
And to feel pretty, most important.
Okay, it is a date. We're going to set up the actual date. Laura,
sounds good.
Thank you so much for being with me.
Barbara,
but before I let you go, give our gruff gals and gruff guys. I'm not going to steal it from you, I promise.
Oh, no,
our Geller gals and Geller guys, 3 of your 1 to 2 or 3, whatever you want, of your best takeaways from our conversation today.
I think it has to be that do whatever it takes to make yourself feel pretty. It doesn't mean it's makeup all the time. It could be a run, like Barbara said. It could be listening to a tape of a dearly departed and reminiscing. For me, I think it speaks to everything every one of us can identify with. We all go through the perils of loss, of challenges, and how do we put one foot in front of the other? Because let's face it, it's not easy every day. And I think that you're giving tools, Barbara, for people. And I, for one, need that myself. I'm far from perfect just because I know how to apply makeup. But it's find your joy, find your inner peace, and tap into it if you can, whatever that may be.
Oh, thank you so much, everyone. You just heard some beautiful words from a very beautiful woman. Thank you for tuning in, everyone, and learning more about our fabulous and so much fun guest, Laura Geller. Check out all the links to learn more about the Laura Geller beauty line of products, too, while you're here. If you love the episode, please share it with your friends and family. And if you don't want to miss an episode of Gruff Talk ever, where we'll be talking about money, sex, style, health, nutrition, grief, and so much more, and everything in between in upcoming episodes, here's what you need to do. Subscribe to Gruff Talk wherever you listen to podcasts. So easy. Just click on the little subscribe button. Until next time, remember this. We can't control getting older, but we can control how we do it. Bye for now.